that is home to over 30 real estate sales and marketing agents who service home buyers and home sellers throughout Boston, the South Shore, the South Coast, and Cape Cod. Our firm takes pride in assisting our clients in the next chapter of their lives by taking a holistic approach to their real estate endeavors. We believe that every move should be a moving experience. Every week, my co-host Melissa Wallace and I will provide you with my team's unique marketing approach to selling homes and share with you our expertise in navigating the home buying process. We value the experience of our agents at Boston Connect Real Estate so much that not only will you hear my perspective on real estate topics, occasionally you will hear the expert thoughts and opinions of our experienced agents at Boston Connect Real Estate. Be a part of our roundtable. If you have any questions during the show, please call 781-837-4900. We love to talk real estate. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and wherever you like to listen to podcasts at Talk Real Estate Roundtable. If you would like a one-on-one consultation with me and my team to discuss your real estate needs, you can connect with me at bostonconnect.com or 781-826-8000. Now, sit back, relax, take good notes, and let's talk real estate. And good morning to all my South Shore neighbors. This is Sharon McNamara. You are, of course, listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable here on day 12 of a rainy Saturday in Massachusetts. Welcome to Massachusetts. Yuck. I mean, Massachusetts is great, but the weather is not cooperating every Saturday. 12th one in a row. I have my sidekick here with me. You heard her go, that was Melissa Wallace. She is the Director of Operations and Agent Relations here at Boston Connect Real Estate. It's been very busy around the office. And of course, we have the one and only, my favorite producer over at WATD. Tim McKinney.
You love all of us. Come on now. Good morning, ladies.
You really, I hope no one else is listening, Tim. You really are my favorite.
They're all listening. They're all listening. It's like that, Tim. He can me.
Tim's the favorite. He's the favorite.
My car's going to be different color when I leave today. That's no.
Yeah. Good morning to Tim. We'll expand the doors. You can use the double door on your exit out of the studio there at WATD today.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. No, you're very good at what you do, and we're very lucky to have you. And I've been with you for years. And you know what? Maybe you don't give yourself enough credit for how wonderful I think that you really are. So. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
We mentioned it actually earlier this week. I was like, I love Tim because we were talking about how we were laughing last week. And I was like, I love how Tim just like gets in there with us. But you know what my favorite part was with Tim?
What?
When he made up that song for us.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's working on one for this year.
Oh, yeah. It was about taking a shower, right?
Yeah. And then we should do like 12 Days of Christmas or something as we're leading up to the end of the year. Maybe he can do something for us.
Oh, boy. Maybe. I'll see what my department can do.
Why don't you do 12 rainy Saturdays? We'll start with that one.
Oh my gosh. And
the first rainy Saturday my true love gave to me.
Yes, I love it.
I don't know.
Actually, my husband just walked in the door. Mark McNamara.
Scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, he went to.
My husband walked in and scared the crap out of me. There you go.
He went to Slack Tide for me this morning, and they just opened another location. I don't know if is everyone.
I've never even heard of that.
Oh my gosh, yes, you have. They're next to Previties in Hanover. They have one in Marshfield. Yeah, and they just opened one in Kingston, right across the street from Silver Lake. And I ordered a bagel online. I love the veggie bagel, no onions, and add a little avocado. And I asked them to hollow out my bagel.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like a treat. It's like they're so good. So I ordered it online, but it wasn't going to be ready until 8:00. And I was like, I don't think that's a good enough excuse for Tim.
No.
Why I'm late.
Tim, can we hold the show for 20 minutes for a bagel?
Yeah. So Mark picked it up for me this morning.
Nice.
So thanks, Mark. And congratulations to Slack Tide there over in they have the 3 locations now. So congratulations. Nice. Yeah, really excited. They have like homemade donuts and stuff over there. I'm not a huge donut person, but they look delicious.
Yesterday was National Donut Day.
Yeah.
I got a coffee in the morning and then a coffee in the afternoon. And both times they were trying to, it's free donut day.
Would you like a free donut?
No, thank you.
No,
thank you.
I mean, I would love one.
I would love one, but not today.
But I'm trying to hold on.
What about if I know it's only part of the donut, but maybe they could substitute the munchkin for a donut, because then that's only like a fifth of the donut.
I know, but then you eat 5 of them, and then you've had a donut.
Yeah.
But see, you have one and you share the rest with your friends.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, I could just ask for one and say it's for my dog Marley. And then not give it to her. Well, she wouldn't. Well, she wouldn't eat it anyway. She's finicky.
Oh.
That one. Yeah, she is not
Not
motivated by food.
motivated by food.
Yeah. So good morning. Here we are, Saturday, June 7th.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning. Good topic today. We had a great topic last week. We talked about etiquette. We were going to continue on and do some seller etiquette and stuff today, but we decided to sort of switch gears a little bit because this is another one that's been coming up a lot for me. Clients, that I've helped sell their home and help them buy another home over the years. Few people have been calling me recently saying, do you think that we should put the house on the market? Should I do renovations? If I'm not planning on selling for several years, what are some of the renovations that you would suggest that I do now? What shouldn't I do? So we're going to do this whole thing. I don't know. Yeah. What did you call it?
Will this add value to my home?
Will this add value to my home? Okay. Let's go.
You don't seem satisfied with that.
No, I am. I mean, that is the question. People always want to know, will it add value to my home?
Well, here's the thing. Sometimes they don't ask and they just do.
Yeah.
And you walk into the house and say, oh, you didn't really have to do that, but, in the most polite way.
Or there are times when I say you really shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Because I don't even know if it's on this list, but there are definitely not to-dos. And I'm going to write the one down that I just thought of. And then maybe I'll look at the agenda again and see if it's in there. But, one of the things, I think one of the important things is whatever you're doing, if it requires a permit, do yourself a favor and get the permit.
Yeah.
I know people don't want to, and I know we've done shows in the past with Tracy Grady. She's generally watching in the morning. Good morning, Tracy. If you're watching us, of course, we're streaming live on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You can find us everywhere. So hello, everybody, and good morning. But maybe that's a show. I know Tracy has a show coming up with you maybe soon.
Next week, yeah. She'll be on with me next Saturday.
She will? Okay. So maybe the topic can be about doing permits and stuff like that and the importance because she now works part-time at the building department in Hanover. And she's helping out over there. She has a lot of experience because she was over in Pembroke for years.
Yeah.
So
she's our go-to.
She is our go-to. It's so funny because every so often I'll say to her, all right, in the town of Pembroke, like what are the setbacks for a shed? And she like rattles it off. She's almost like ChatGPT.
You can see it so ChatGPT, you can see it coming up on the screen. It's still thinking it's going. That's her. So, but yeah, no, she's been on the show a couple of times with that topic. But yeah, I'll let her know that that's what she's the expert. Yeah. We don't even need an agenda. She knows exactly. She'll just ramble it off.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I feel like when you and Tracy do the show is very similar to when I do a show with Alyssa.
Yeah, you just kind of go with the vibes.
You just sort of go with it, right? It's like, do we have an agenda? Why do we need one?
Yeah, so we go with the vibes.
Yeah. So what do we want to start this whole rodeo here? Again, we're talking about, will this add value to my home? Of course, if you have any questions for us that have to do with real estate, whether it's this topic or another topic, feel free to call us. The studio has open lines, and Tim will get you right over to us. 781-837-4900, 781-837-4900. And if you're shy and bashful, you can always text that number as well.
Yeah, I think the first step of deciding if you're going to do a renovation is really understanding the market, where the market is right now. And I mean that by, is it a seller's market? Is it a buyer's market? What are the buyers really looking for in a property right now? Are they looking to be able to do things on their own once they get in, put their own personal touches on it? Are they looking for something that's completely, sort of renovated? And I know every buyer is different, but there tend to be trends. During COVID, we're getting a call at the office.
Yeah, I know. Maybe Mark will answer that.
Yeah, maybe Mark will answer that. So during COVID, I think, it was definitely a seller's market. But, with that being said, buyers were sort of scooping anything up, and they were losing out on a lot. And, they were more lenient with how, a condition of the house because they can go in and put their personal touches in and things like that. So I think during that market, we definitely saw sellers didn't have to do
They
as much.
They didn't have to really do anything.
Yeah, they just
It's
put
like,
a
do you have a
sign in
roof?
front of it, like, here you go.
Yeah, you have a roof?
You have
It
a
has a
roof.
couple of leaks. All right, that's fine. I'll take it. You know, that's a really actually very valid point, and it wasn't where my mindset was going this morning. I was always on this ROI type,
Yeah.
mindset, but the current market trends definitely does have a lot to do with it for a couple of reasons, like the one that you just gave, but also deciding if you're going to leave or not. You know what I mean? Because if you're going to do the renovation, enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, we always say, like, well, what's your timeline? I know maybe you want to renovate your kitchen or bathrooms or whatever it may be. And, we say, if you're looking to sell in the next 3 years, is that the most ideal? Like, are you going to get your love out of it in those 3 years where, you might not need to do those renovations? But I'm just going back to, Tracy being on the show and talking about one of her listings, which is under agreement now. It was a little struggle at the beginning because there were some things that needed to be done in the home, interior and exterior, that the seller did take care of, get to that buyer, being under agreement. But that was the feedback, if we're going to be in this price point, this is sort of the expectation. Going back a few years, I don't know if the same conversation would have had to have happened.
Yeah, no, probably not. And too, some of the conversations I'm having with people too brings us right back to that lock-in effect, right? So one of my clients that I met with recently, and it's, should I do a renovation on my house with potentially an addition, or do I sell my house and purchase a new home? And it's so funny how, where I am in my career right now, and I'm showing up, and it's, my job isn't to just tell you what the value of your house is, put a sign out front. I feel like I'm more in that, financial, advisor type situation, not what to do with stocks and bonds, certainly, but with your financial home, right? And keeping your financial house and making sure that things make sense. And, sometimes, and with this particular client, he and his wife just needed me to sort of sit down, and they needed someone to bounce these things off of, So as I was talking, and they had some plans and all this other stuff, and I was just like, let's back up, look back. What's the real reason you want to do this? Oh, because when the kids all get together here for Christmas or Thanksgiving or the holidays, it's really crowded. So you're going to invest that much money in this house
for one day
when you could potentially just do like a great renovation to get the wonderful kitchen, do the living room, do the floors over, for a quarter of the amount, put up a garage and everything, and be very, very comfortable for a long time. And then when the question came up, well, do you think we should sell it? And I said, you can sell it. It will sell very quickly. There's no doubt about that. I'm happy to sell it for you, but I don't understand why you would ever give up a 2.5% interest rate that you have. So this is like the lock-in effect.
A holiday every year.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I was like, maybe you just do a smaller renovation. Maybe do a garage, make it detached like we did, right? And that probably helps on taxes because it's considered an outbuilding rather than attached to the house. And I was like, have you ever had dreams of maybe having another property down the Cape or down south or something? And they like both looked at each other like, brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So, I know you have talked to quite a few people
out
of selling in your career, but that's the thing. Like that's what makes you genuine, and like having a relationship with clients is the most important, and just being able to say, like, you know what, if you really want to sell, I'm happy to help you, and this will sell quickly. However, I don't think that you need to. You can make this your forever home. There are, endless possibilities.
Yeah. And then there are times where, at the end of the day, they make the decision that they don't want, and it isn't even advice, it's options. I'd love to let people know what their options are. And like I said, sometimes they just need somebody to sit down across from them that, can sort of talk them through it. And yes, over my career, I have talked to many people and said that I didn't think it was a great idea for them to sell. It just financially didn't make sense. But then I also have clients that financially don't have to, they're not thinking about those types of things, right? So they can make, any decision that they want. But I also know I'm so grateful that those people appreciate that I'm being honest, genuine, transparent with them. And that's why they continue to refer me, to their family and friends.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then maybe in 10 years they want to sell.
and that's the
Who
thing,
knows?
it's
because life brings you into different places, different chapters.
Absolutely. So. Yeah. And then we'll probably have a conversation then if it is in 10 years where they want to sell. I'll be like, well, did you check with the kids first to see if they want to buy it?
I know.
I can just keep on knocking myself out of it,
Mm-hmm. Anything else we want to talk about understanding the market and sort of where it is and what buyers are looking for, or if sellers really need to do certain things in order to appease?
No, but I think it was a really good point that you brought up and added to our agenda that, tip number one is, understand what the market is.
Mm-hmm.
And, if, I am not your agent and if somebody at Boston Connect isn't your agent, well, one of us could be, by the way. You could call us at the office and you can go onto our website, bostonconnect.com, see all of our agents there. But make sure you're having these conversations with your agent.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like if your agent is rushing you into just, oh yeah, great, that's what you want to do, let's put it on the market, and then maybe sort of rethink about that. But market conditions do make a difference in how I would respond to somebody.
Yeah. I would say structurally, I would definitely take care of things like that. Things that would come up in a home inspection that would sort of make a buyer say, you know what, I'm not going to move forward. Because you also don't want to waste your time. You don't want to waste anybody's time, and waiting for the next one. And also when there is a lot of inventory, and I hate to use the word compete, but they ultimately are, when you're comparing apples to apples, if one has, this and what you're looking for, and this one has not what you're looking for, you're going to go for that one.
Yeah.
Especially if they're sort of in the same price range.
Yeah. And I would say like long term, and I know we're going to get into this deeper, is, when you're having this consideration, not only talking about the market, but having a real estate agent come over and help you with those decisions is really important because, hey, if I do this, is it going to impact how, when I do go to sell it? And, I know I love going over and telling people, yeah, maybe do this, maybe do that. Don't do this, don't do that.
Mm-hmm. You have said several times that you walk through a house with the eyes of a buyer. So with your eyes of a buyer, what are some things that you look for that are right going through the house and something that you might be looking for?
Yeah. Yeah, I do say that. As I walk through your house, I walk through as the eyes of the buyer, because buyers are looking for what's wrong, not for what's right. And I know you want me to look for what's right, but
what's something that would catch your eye or any buyer's eye immediately?
Yeah. So one of the things that I think is most important when you're looking at a house is, what does the house sit on, right? So where is the lot? Working with some clients right now, and that's a big decision that they're sort of making, is do we, go all in on a house that's completely renovated, maybe in an area or a lot that we're not loving, or do we go towards like a more secluded, lot, and with a house that needs some updating? And I guess that what really matters on that is what is your long-term goal? Are you going to stay in a house that needs a lot of renovations for a long time where you're going to earn the equity? Or do you want to buy the house that somebody already did everything and you're giving them equity? You're paying for that equity that they put into it. So it's one of those attorney answers, right? We're not an attorney, but it depends, right? On what is best. But as I'm walking through a house, I know that the buyers are looking at bathrooms and kitchens and, looking for granite and stainless, where I'm looking at bigger ticket items. So I'm looking at, how old are the windows? Oh, they're original. And one of the things I'm thinking about, a couple of houses right now, is, doing things over time to just put a Band-Aid on something is never really suggested, right? So like if your rug if the carpet is just nasty and you want to rip up the carpet in a room, really think about putting down that laminate, because it's not going to match Like that's one of my biggest pet peeves is seeing flooring that isn't the same everywhere.
Match, yeah.
The floors that don't match, it drives me crazy because that's a huge expense to do afterwards.
Yeah.
And you know what it also is? A waste of money for the person who did it wrong in the first place. And I just, unless your goal is to make it all the same eventually, I don't know, but sometimes that just drives me crazy. Even in my own house when we were doing our basement and we were just not doing our basement over. We added a couple things down there, right? My workout room, and then we have a sauna and stuff. And I wanted just sort of like that, laminate floor just because it's in a basement. And it was really hard for me because I wanted it to somewhat match my hardwood when you open the door at the top of the stairs, because we also have like a French door at the top of the stairs. And do I love the laminate that's down there? No, but it doesn't drive me crazy because I like that it matches my floors.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah. It almost makes sense that like I'm going into a basement that you would have laminate and not hardwood.
Yeah.
But I want it to be the same color. I didn't want it to be so different that it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
So I guess that's not really a staging thing, but it's definitely a design thing. So we do a lot of that type of stuff too. But the bigger ticket items, I'm looking at the roof, I'm looking at the shingles, I'm looking at the trim on the exterior of the house, the septic, all these different things, So, and there are alternatives. I have to have Brian Kane back on again to talk about septic. So it just brought me back to our first segment here. With my client, we were going and I was like, well, if you wanted a bigger living room, why wouldn't you just do like a small addition off the back of your house? Like that's what I did.
Yeah.
And my septic system is there. And I was like, well, have you ever thought about maybe moving it? It's all brand new when you bought it. Like I'm sure, like I have to talk to Brian, but they just had their first baby. So congratulations to the Canes. Everything is new. So maybe it's just a matter of moving portion of the leaching field or something like that. Maybe it won't cost you. Why does everyone think a septic system is $30,000?
I don't know. Maybe because they got one quote.
Yeah, I don't know. $30,000. I was like, maybe you could do it.
Always get more than one. Always get more than one, so you have an idea.
Yeah. So for me, as an agent, I'm looking at the bigger ticket items. You could go into a house where it has a great heating system and it has like the owner has taken time to do like a new furnace, a new water heater. Like some of those items are really good to have that you don't have to worry about. I understand when people want to get into a house. Hey, if you're in a house and it has an older roof and it's not leaking, then maybe take care of the kitchen first if you want to do a cosmetic. To me, if you go into a house and let's just say the dishwasher is working, whether there is one or not, the sink is running, the stove works, you can plug in a refrigerator, you can live in it for a while. The HGTV has destroyed your generation.
Well, I don't have a dishwasher and I can live in it. I have a pedestal sink
unless Ethan is listening.
Well, Ethan does the dishes.
Yeah.
So that's why I can live. I used to wash them and he would dry them. And now we've transitioned to he just does the whole thing. So I'm like,
perfect.
I just quietly like slink out of the room. But every time you say something, I think about my house and I'm like, oh, I don't have that. I didn't think that was a big deal when I was walking through it. But you know what? I had looked for so long that I was like, you're different. I'm just you're different.
But you are different. You're sort of an older soul that understands, and too, being in this industry as long as you have been in this industry and hearing the conversations, not only that come through me because you're directly, helping me with all of my clients as well, not even that portion of it, but you're listening to all of our agents. So you went in there knowing what that can be.
Yeah.
Right. And too,
with the help from the McNamara family
and other people too. But even like, you're eventually going to need a new septic system. So why you could certainly go off the back of your house and do a nice, big, huge, long addition on the back of your house because you're going to have to move your septic. So you have a lot of opportunities.
That just gave me anxiety. I was like, oh gosh. But I would say that, maybe I was a little bit different because I was the person who like drove off with my Jeep after buying it and realizing, oh, I don't have a sunroof. It doesn't really bother me. Like I never used the one I had before anyways, like, and now I'm like, I get ready in my bathroom. I have a pedestal sink. I have no counter space at all. And I'm like, oh, well, I guess I'll get a little,
you made it
tower thing. Yeah, we're making it work.
But you can make it work.
Now. Yeah,
and that's the thing for now.
Yeah, you can make it work. But going back to understanding the market, it's I was in a market where I was looking for a home, whether I needed to do work or not. And I kind of wanted to do work because I wanted to make it. Everyone made fun of me because I wanted something that was like a unique and had a little, personality to it. I didn't want just like the box house, but that was sort of the market that I was in. And now I feel like we're shifting gears a little bit where people are a little bit more, no, this is what I want type of thing. And that's just based off of conversations that I've had with agents recently, being like working with buyers and not being able to find something, like, and we hear like, oh, there's inventory coming on and so much more inventory, but I think people are getting a little bit more picky.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They really are.
And rightfully so. I mean, this is a really big investment for people.
Ding, ding, ding. That's
Ding,
exactly.
ding.
It's like you're in my head because as soon as I think
I'm in
something,
it.
you say it. But that is the point is, your people are spending so much money. I don't know if you even heard me yesterday. So I have a hot sheet, which is an MLS. So a hot sheet it just tells me, I have like all the, towns, surrounding towns and everything, what's new on the market, what went under agreement, blah, blah, blah. And yesterday I was looking at the hot sheet and I vocally said, I cannot believe the price of houses right now.
Yeah,
And
you did.
Yeah, right. It's coming from like a buyer's perspective. It's great for sellers, so long as you have some place to go.
I didn't have too much of a reaction because I'm just like, yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, we did at the beginning of the spring see a little bit of a slowdown where days on market tended to be a little bit more. But if it's, it took me 2 weeks to get this house under, take 2 weeks, 3 weeks to get this house under agreement. By the way, I feel like that's a more stabilized type, real estate market versus I put it on the market and I had 15 offers in the first 15 minutes, but we're still seeing a lot of that. To all our WATD listeners, you are listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable here with myself, Sharon McNamara, broker owner of Boston Connect Real Estate, and my sidekick, Melissa Wallace, who is the Director of Operations and Agent Relations here at Boston Connect Real Estate. We are live streaming.
Live streaming.
We're streaming live today. Yes, we're everywhere: Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. So you can see us there, ask us any questions, or call into Tim, who is waited 781-837-4900. 781-837-4900. If you're too shy, you can also text him that at that same number, and you can ask us some questions.
We do have a question. It's a little off topic, and we are going to be doing a show about this soon. But Amy Troop is on Facebook. She's watching us, and she has a question. What are your thoughts on the home inspection laws? We are going to do a show about that. I don't know if it necessarily
because
goes with everything we're talking about right now, but
there's sort of I wonder where Amy is, if Amy wanted to call in. So the thing with the home inspection law, I heard that it was going into effect yesterday. So that was like the original date that they gave, but like I haven't gotten any notice from anybody that our forms are changing, that home inspection is no longer on there. So I thought that got pushed into July. But that's a really valid point, Amy. I should do a little research on that today to see exactly where we stand with that. With the home inspection law, we're going to do a whole show on that, Amy, and we'll have Amy Masfer on with us when we do that. So maybe I can ask her to do that the following week, because you're with Tracy next week.
And then I'm with Kristen.
And then you're with Kristen. Okay. All right. Well, we'll figure that out. And the long and short of that, we did discuss it a couple weeks ago, by the way. The long and short of the new law that Mara Healy has put in part of her housing package that she has is you no longer have to worry about not getting your offer accepted based on the fact that you are having the contingency of a home inspection, because it will no longer be showing up on the offer form. So a seller in the past would have, if they had multiple offers and we had 6 offers in front of us, and, generally speaking, the sellers were more attracted to the ones that were waiving their home inspection. And it could be for obvious reasons or not obvious reasons, but the people who weren't concerned about having, a home inspection, or just, if you don't want to renegotiate after home inspection, just dig your heels in the sand and say no.
But
there was the way that this all started is because there was a large group of people that felt during, and again, 4 years now have I been saying this market is reckless. I've been saying it for 4 years. I think it's reckless. I think everybody deserves to have the right for a home inspection. You shouldn't feel you feel like, oh, my offer isn't going to get accepted if I don't have one. So that whole process will be going away. And Amy, if you can't call in, but if you want to respond on the text, I don't know why it doesn't come up on there, May.
You just call me May.
I meant
She
to
is
say
working. She is working. She's watching May. Who's watching?
Melissa.
This one's yours. That one's.
Oh, okay.
Boston Connect.
Did that go definitely into effect yesterday? We should probably look into that.
Yeah, we should look into.
I thought it got pushed into July.
I thought it did too, but
the news said
any,
yesterday, but
yeah, I don't. Considering we don't have new offer forms.
Yeah, I know. So,
but yeah, so we will do a whole show on that. Probably right before July. So.
Yeah, and I think it's a great idea, to stay on topic of what we're also talking about right now is, having a pre-home inspection is maybe something that you consider as well. If you're thinking about, well, I'm not sure I want to put my house on the market right now. Maybe I want to do that in 5 years, 5 to 10 years, or maybe you're like, hey, why don't I just have a home inspection, see what really is, what do I have to do here in order to get my house, 100% to get it on the market. If you want to do that, we will probably see more of that because of this new law, by the way. As a seller, it might be nice to know what you have in front of you, and you can have, hey, to the buyers, I had a home inspection. This is who it was with, a reputable company, and this is what came up. So, and that gives you the opportunity to maybe, tackle those items first.
Yeah. I think with the pre-home inspection, my thought process is like everyone thinks that certain things are more important than others. So, I feel like maybe a homeowner would think like, oh, that's not a big deal, but it might be a big deal to a buyer.
Yeah. I would say the big deals, anything that's hazardous, obviously, your radon, your mold, those types of things. I think that people should be looking at when they do the home inspection. The door on one of your cabinets is loose. Well, grab a screwdriver.
What do you think are some things that people can do around their house that will add value?
So kitchen remodels tends to be the first, right? And no matter what you Google or how you Google it, I think that kitchen remodels would come up first, in bathrooms. I think that people like that. And it's interesting too, though, because there are times when I go into people's kitchens and I'm like, I wonder if I would have done that as a remodel or not. So be really careful. Like if you're selling your house, I wouldn't do a kitchen remodel to put my house on the market.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I would do a kitchen remodel if I was going to live in my house a little bit longer.
Yeah. That's definitely something that our first question would be, well, when are you planning on moving? Because if you're not going to enjoy that, especially because everyone has their own taste, trends come and go, so what, and, not for nothing, but there's definitely value in certain things and not so much value in another. So if somebody really wants quartz or if somebody really wants granite and, things like that, it's don't spend your money on something that you won't really enjoy that much.
Yeah. Well, and don't get too personalized with that. You know what I mean?
And don't try to cut corners.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying.
Let's just end the show. End the show right there. That's it. You just did a mic drop. Just don't cut corners.
Don't cut corners.
Yeah.
Hire a professional.
100%. Because sometimes I walk through some houses and I'm like, now that just has to be ripped out. It's wasting time and energy.
Yeah.
But again, if you're living in the house for a long time, you can enjoy that.
Sue Bollinger, who is a full-time agent here at Boston Connect Real Estate, is watching us on Facebook, and she said, hi, law goes into effect October 15th, according to Mar. And good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sue.
Thanks for looking that up, Sue, because they've extended it more, and my guess is that it was extended
to do the forms.
Is to do the form. Yeah. So I knew that there was per her.
Someone should let the news know then.
Yeah, I was watching the news the other day and they said it. I was like, someone should let them know that it
especially
really
because I'm sure buyers are watching the news and now they're going to be saying something to their agent and their agent has to be like, no.
I would be really careful. Like, Amy is listening. Amy is a real estate agent, and she works for another company. And we support each other all the time. I mean, Amy is great. She knows I adore her. We don't have competitors. We are colleagues, right, with different color logos. And I'm guessing that she is very similar to us in this vein, is that we're never going to tell somebody to waive a home inspection. If you want to waive all your contingencies, that's really up to you. And if you're getting that idea on Google or somebody else told you, then that's really your decision. But we really respect the fact that our buyers want to have a home inspection, whether they want to have it to make sure that their investment is solid, or if they just want to learn the house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
curb appeal. Do you think that adds value to a home?
I do.
Yeah.
Well, it adds value, because if you have a rotten lawn, then that's going to cost you whatever's going to cost the next person money is going to add value to your house, in my opinion. But I also think what curb appeal does is it sort of accentuates and embellishes on that emotional value. Right? Oh my gosh, I love it. You know what I mean? I mean, think about, like, Mark does such a great job at our house, right? He does a great job here, right?
Yeah.
And people always comment about how beautiful, the yard looks and everything else. And now my garden, it literally looks like Boston Common. We were down there this morning.
Yeah.
And, I think that appeal that wants people to be there, I want that.
Yeah. I'm hearing a whistle. Do you hear it? No. Okay, it's just in my head.
I hear something. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Sounds like maybe Tim's making a shake or something.
I know it does.
He has the NutriBullet going.
I think curb appeal, I mean, that is your first impression. It's I think that the first impression is the most important part. I mean, it's also sort of that's what everybody sees.
Yeah.
And we don't know what goes on behind closed doors, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So, like, you walk into the house and there could be some things that need to be, whatever. But the exterior, okay, it looks nice.
Yeah.
It must be really nice in that house.
Well, and that's the other thing too, is I think that if you hate to judge a book by its cover, but we also know love at first sight, right? So you have two different sort of, quotes that mean the same thing differently, right? So don't judge a book by its cover. But honestly, if somebody can't take the time to take care of the outside of their home, I'm really curious what the inside is like, and too, I know, and I hope I'm not being not sensitive enough to the fact that I know that great landscaping potentially costs money, and sometimes people don't have that. I truly do understand that. But even if you don't have a great lawn, you don't have to leave all your crap out on the front yard.
Yeah.
Can I say crap?
Yeah. And you can also do a lot of it yourself. So there are wonderful landscapers out there, and a lot of them local here. And, and sometimes we refer them to our clients and things like that. But there are a lot of things that you can do yourself. And I'm just thinking, like, what is the difference that mulch makes? I mean, it's easy, enough to sort of figure out how to put the mulch in. I mean, watch a YouTube video,
Make sure you don't cover your downspouts.
Yeah. There are certain things that you can do yourself that would sort of bring it back to life a little bit.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, and the other thing too that I think is really great, and you might not think about it as curb appeal, but I don't know what it is, but like when I show up to a house, and Mary and I had an appointment this past week, and afterwards we drove around a couple of our different subdivisions where we were the listing agent. So the first one that Mary had ever done was over on Seltsam. So we were down in that area, and drove around, and we went by one house, and I hate when, like, the shades, I'm a shade thing.
Yeah.
And it drives me crazy. I drive by your house and your shades are always down, but I'd rather all down or all up, because I hate things when they're like your shade is crooked and like things are like hanging. But clean windows makes a big difference.
Yeah. Most of the time I have my shades down because the sun beats on my house all day, and I don't have central AC, so it gets really hot if the windows are open.
Okay, so that's another thing though. Like if I was to do something, to add value to my house, it would be that or the mini splits, because the mini splits actually, I don't know where Mark and I were. We were somewhere, and they had a mini split it was almost like it was in the ceiling. And I was like, wow, those are so much more effective than the big ones we have,
That hang off the wall?
That hang off the wall. Yeah. This was like in the ceiling.
Yeah.
I don't know where we were. And I thought that was a great idea.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was just like a commercial type thing that you could only do it commercially, but I think that's a great idea. But if I was to use any of my money towards something, I say it to Mark all the time. We added central AC to our house, I don't even know, 10 years ago, maybe. And I always say to him, the best investment we ever made in our house was to put AC in.
Yeah.
So I would rather that. I would rather central AC and deal with a kitchen that I can deal with.
Well, it's also something that our agents bring up too. So like when we have our office meetings and we allot some time during our office meeting to have our agents say, oh, this is what I have coming on. This is what I have in search of for my buyers. A lot of the times, an agent will say, I have a 4-bedroom colonial coming on in Pembroke that's, X, Y, and Z, does not have central AC, and it's almost like, you kind of think that it at this point probably should.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely an investment that people are looking for. I would say that the buyers are looking for.
It goes a long way. And I do think, especially, like, I think things have changed over the years where, like, we put our AC on this week and for a couple of reasons, and we just sort of keep it at one temperature at the house and in the office, is because one, when you open the windows, the pollen is just pathetic. And so that's one reason. And then the other obviously is the heat, but it's nice just to have it. I love that we did do that. One thing. And here's the thing too, is if you're gonna, it really depends if you plan on being somewhere long-term or not. But Mark and I generally put a little money aside every year, and we do one bigger project every year. So,
it's a smart way to live.
Yeah.
Any other maybe smart home features or outdoor living spaces that you think would add value?
No.
Okay.
I just don't. I mean, I just think that there are certain people that are going to be tech savvy and there are going to be certain people that are not.
Yeah.
So to me, to do it to try to get extra value, no. If you can say, oh, and it has smart home and it has all this, great. But that's something easy enough for people to put in if they want it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want it, do it.
Yeah. I mean, when I bought my house, I put, the doorbell with the camera on the front, the exterior lights and cameras and things like those are things that I wanted to take care of. So like I wasn't sort of focused on that. Like those security measures are things that like I feel like are personal. So I always think that it's interesting when like there's a Ring doorbell or something and you transfer ownership over to them. Like, that's weird.
Yeah. Well, there was one house one time where the person wasn't willing to give up the password. And I was like, well, you can't continue to spy on the new buyers.
Yeah,
Weirdo.
But yeah, you don't think like patios or decks or anything?
Well, patios and decks, yeah. I mean, there definitely will increase value. So, but don't have the inside, like the inside of your house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you don't
have to live inside, not just outside.
Yeah. And we can't live outside that long in, Massachusetts, in our area here on the South Shore.
Yeah.
So I would say, those things are going to continue to add value but so long as the inside of the house, I would say, your mechanicals and all that other stuff are up to date, then do those things.
You mentioned ROI in the beginning of the show. What are some things that you believe that you do recoup that?
Yeah. You're never going to recoup dollar for dollar, regardless.
Yeah.
So get that thought out of your head. But I would say it really does go back to, the big ticket items of maintenance. So, your heating system, your AC condensers. That's why we always do so many shows as well on, maintaining items, because older items are great if you're maintaining them year after year. So obviously keep all those records and everything, but don't replace your septic system just to say it's new. You don't have to do that. But if you have a newer septic system, then certainly that's something you won't get dollar for dollar for it. But to be able to say from a marketing perspective, oh, this is, we have a new septic system. You don't have to worry about that. So I guess that's the way to look at it is if somebody is going to buy my house, are they going to minimize the value of the house based on oh, I'm going to eventually have to do that. The windows are 33 years old. I'm eventually going to have to do that.
Yeah.
The roof is 20 years old. I'm eventually going to have to do that. The heating system is, 35 years old. You know what I mean? Like, those are all things that add up. And one thing that sort of frustrates me is, sellers who are unrealistic when they were like, oh, well, the house down the street sold for this, so I should be able to get it. Well, if you want that, you have to compare apples to apples. So you can't not do a single solitary thing on your house and expect that you're going to get the same as the person who did everything.
I'm just thinking of an example that you recently had let our agents know about. Oh, apples to apples, like this room didn't look like another room at a different house. I don't know.
Did you see that post?
I was like, what?
Crazy.
At first I thought you were saying that you did something wrong, and I was like, what? So I had to reread it. I had to reread it, and I was like, oh my gosh, they compared these two rooms?
Yeah. We are definitely, one, that is going to be a class, and two, we're going to do a show on that.
Yeah.
So just to fill our listeners in, this is separate from our topic, but I did a CMA and I was talking to the person yesterday, and I was doing it via Teams. I like to bring people directly into MLS so they can see, very transparent. I can see everything that I'm seeing. And I came up with a number, and she's like, well, I want to let you know that I did have 2 other agents. And I was like, oh, I love and respect that, was where I was close. And she's like, well, not really. And my number was so far off. And I was like, how could I be that far off? And I was like, all right, then I definitely missed something. And I was like, hey, I'll take ownership of that. Like, I make mistakes. I was like, would you mind sharing? I said, I don't want to know who the agents are. I don't want to know what company they're from. I just don't. But I'd love to know what they used for comps. And she's like, sure. So she again, this was through Teams. She looked up the comps and she was telling them to me. So I pulled them up because I was still live with her on Teams, and I had MLS there, and I showed her, and she's like, you're kidding. I was like, no. So this was like a kitchen that could seat 8 people. Like fully, like a huge.
You could see it in a magazine.
Yes. And the entire house looks like that versus the cottage that it is.
Yeah. One that did not look like.
And every comp was like that. It was wild. So we're going to do a show on that. That will be a good one. And I'm going to actually go online and show people. And show some of these examples.
Very important. I will also say that this is sort of different than when, somebody buys a house and flips it, is what we say, and it's completely renovated, and there are certain things that are or pretty much everything is new. So that return on investment is different than, somebody who's been living in a home for a long time and is deciding to sell, and maybe they're going to be renovating something or adding. So I think that is important to sort of say. We only have 5 minutes left.
I know. And so I would say with the kitchen and baths and stuff, the return on investment is probably about 70 to 85% that you'd get on return on investment. But the other thing that you have to think about as well is when you're updating like your windows and doing things like that. Yes, that's going to be great when you go to sell your house, because that's what, buyers are looking for. But if you're going to be living there and enjoying it, that's what you're also going to save is energy, right? So you're going to save on your electric bill and your heating bills and things like that. So you'll save some money that way.
I also think that it's important to say, also know the value of your home currently.
Yes.
And that goes back to knowing where the market is. So if you get an evaluation for your house, you say it's $400,000. I probably wouldn't suggest doing $100,000 renovation on it, because your house isn't probably going to be 500 plus thousand. So you're not going to recoup that.
Yeah.
So know your house too, not just the market. Don't overdo it.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to get that value back.
And two, like one of the things for sellers is recognizing and understanding, because people will say to me, well, I haven't finished the room over the garage. So somebody can do that. We call that a frog, right?
Yeah.
Family room over garage. I haven't finished the family room over the garage. So somebody could finish that. Oh, okay.
You're not going to make money off of that.
Yeah. Like it's not your equity, because somebody
could come in and do that. I mean, how many times have you seen that? And you have to say to them, well, you can't profit off of somebody else's hard work.
Yeah.
So
and somebody else's equity. Yeah.
You're going to profit off of what you've done.
Yeah.
And the current value and state of your home. You can't just because you can build, a 3-car garage on your property doesn't mean your house is going to sell, because they won't afford to be able to buy to build it. So
I could put a pool in the backyard. Not that a pool is going to give you, anything. That's another one too. So
pools don't have value.
Yeah. Well, they might have market value. I mean, it's all relative. It might have not market value. It might add emotional value. So sorry for that little flub there. Emotional value. I mean, during COVID, everybody wanted a pool because there was no one could go anywhere. Who wants to go to the beach wearing a mask? And now that we think about it, why the hell were people doing that? Sorry, had to say that out loud. I'm not going to go to the beach and wear a mask.
I know people did.
Yeah, well. So explain. Okay. So, so you just brought up that point. So I think that that's good. And DIY or do a pro. You mentioned that, Mel. You know what? Call a pro, because if somebody, like if I walk through a house with Mark is in construction. He understands construction. If you DIY it, just because you can see it on HGTV and you think it's a great idea, guess what? I walk in the house and I'm like, this looks like a piece of crap.
I walked away from my first house because it was a DIY special.
Mm-hmm.
There were things that they took care of themselves and had pride of that, but they did it wrong. So bye.
And you have to worry about the safety issues.
Yeah,
and did they get permits, and did they do it the right way? So definitely, Tracy and I will hit upon that next week as well. Are you and Tracy will? Who's here with Tracy? You are.
Yeah, I am.
Oh, okay, yeah. You and Tracy will discuss.
I'm not available.
Yeah. So sorry about that. But maybe I'll tune in. And then the seller's dilemma: to fix it or not to fix it. Always fix it. If it's broken, always fix it.
Yeah.
Okay. So that tip was easy.
Fix it.
Yep. If it's broken, fix it. And we talked about all of those things. So you have 1 minute left. Do we have some open houses?
I do. Oh,
I know. I'll talk. Cushing Trails is every weekend, Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 12. That is off of Spring Street in Hanson. I know Sue Bollinger is there for me today, and Faith is there for me tomorrow.
Sam Horton and Connor Sullivan have a new listing. It's a multifamily. It's 48 Rockcliffe Street in Fall River. They are there today and tomorrow from 11 to 1. I believe it's a 3-family. It's on for $669. Team Flynn is at 2 Fontana Way in Bridgewater today, 10 to 12. That is on for $999.
New construction.
$999. And Michelle Fay has a brand new listing, 33 Cranberry Road in Whitman. She's going to be there tomorrow, 11 to 1. That's on for $585.
And that's cute. So I love that we're able to let all of people know about our listings that are here at Boston Connect Real Estate. If you have any questions for us, certainly you can get in touch with me, 781-294-4848. If you want to get in touch with one of our agents, of course, they are always ready, willing, and able. So you can go to Boston Connect and see all of our wonderful agents there. So if you want to get an analysis on your home, or if you're thinking about buying a home, the right people to touch base with. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye, Tim.
Bye.
The South Shore's breaking news, weather, and traffic station, 95.9 WATD FM Marshfield.